Good morning. I'm Victoria Lougheed, and I am the Learning and Education Lead for Family Caregivers of BC. This morning, I'm going to be talking to you about engaging choice as a caregiver and how using the act of consciously choosing your caregiving role can help you, but also how giving your care recipient choices can help them. You'll both feel more empowered in your relationship, and caregiving may become less stressful for you as a result. So give me just a moment here. I'm going to bring up my notes so that I'll have something to focus on as we're going. I do tend to drift down the tangents, so if I have my notes, I can kind of keep things on the line. So one of the most commonly reported stressors in caregiving is that feeling of powerlessness, that feeling that you've been thrust in to the caregiving situation. It wasn't something that you had any choice over or any control over, and that can leave you with some mixed emotions about the caregiving experience. So what I'd like to do is just sort of talk you through the psychology of the power of choice, because even within your caregiving role, no matter how it began, you can engage choice and feel just more empowered about the relationship. So the reason why this works is because when we choose our actions, when we choose our life decisions, we feel in control of them. The more control we feel over our lives, the less stress we feel about our situation. And so that's why consciously choosing helps you feel less stressed about caregiving. So the interesting fact is that this actually does work both for caregivers and for care recipients, because it is a two-way relationship, and there is that back and forth dynamic that has to be navigated between you and your care recipient. So sorry about that. I'm going to talk about care recipients in a minute, but first I want to focus on how choosing the caregiving role can benefit you. So you can choose to make a new choice in your life at any time. You can stop, re-examine your situation, and make a new choice. Having the power to choose gives you that sense of control. 4 ways to increase your sense of control and gain control of your caregiving experience are to not keep score, to ask others in the caregiving circle or team to take on some tasks, to practice a philosophy that is more in the moment, a one day at a time way of looking at things, and to make your choices conscious. So I'm going to talk about each of those in a little bit of detail. So the first one, don't keep score. If you have family that don't or can't participate in the caregiving experience, you need to reframe your expectations of what everyone can do as part of the caregiving team, or how they can be a part of the team. If you don't already have a caregiving team, a circle of care set up for yourself, I really encourage you, I invite you to connect with our caregiving coaching line so that you can learn from our caregiving coaching line how you can connect with one of our volunteers or one of our staff around building a circle of care for yourself. It gives you so many more options in the caregiving role. In my family, I'm just going to give you an example. I always like to bring it back to me. In my family, caregiving is shared between my husband and me, with a little bit of participation from my mother-in-law, who lives nearby. My husband does some things, I do others, but I don't waste energy trying to figure out how many things I've done compared to how many things he's done, or trying to tally how many times my mother-in-law has come and helped us out. I just choose to look at it as a day-to-day, this is my life, this is where I am, and whatever help we give each other, we're all part of a team. So it's really, we look at it as a group effort instead of this is what I'm doing, this is what you're doing, and this is what she's doing. It's more of a group effort. The other thing that helps is to ask others to do more. If you have people on your team and you're maybe having a low energy time of year, maybe you can just say to those folks, hey, I'm really struggling right now. I'm wondering if you can maybe take on this task. Or maybe you can spend half an hour a day doing a video chat with our care recipient so that I can just honestly sit on the couch and have a bit of a snooze. So that's kind of a way of lightening your load. Look at what tasks you must do, and then look at the tasks that you can get others to do. You can delegate, so to speak. Even if you're the only one available, do you have to get the groceries yourself, or can you maybe order them online and have them delivered? It may cost a tiny bit more, but saving yourself that hour and a half of effort is really worth the extra little bit that you're going to pay to have your groceries delivered. And yes, I know you're not going to have the absolute choice over how your tomatoes look or how soft your other vegetables or hard your other vegetables might be, but I can tell you from experience, the folks who pick things out, they do a good job. It's something that we started doing because of COVID and have kept doing because it's just enhanced our lives so much more. So if you offload tasks to a family member or friend, something to be mindful of is you have to let go of ownership of that task. You have to just kind of let it go. It won't be done the way you do it. That's okay. It'll still be done. And that's what you hang on to. Another thing that you can do is practicing that one day at a time philosophy. I don't know if I told you in my last Facebook Live, but when people, ask, what's your family motto or how do you look at life, I often jokingly respond with, our motto is survive the next 15 minutes. It's actually really true. That is our motto. The reason for this is because my daughter is very changeable in her mood and in her ability to cope with things. She gets overwhelmed very easily, and so it's very difficult for us to plan ahead. Sometimes mood shifts will happen quite dramatically in the course of a span of 10 minutes. She'll go from being happy to being devastated to being giddy, and we just kind of have to roll along on the roller coaster ride with her. And changing my outlook from having to plan everything ahead and having to have all those chess pieces in place to just going with the flow really, really helped me unload some anxiety around my caregiving experience. So that was a big piece of kind of giving up worry for me, was just to look at things in smaller chunks. A lot of some of the focus in care around folks who have dementia or Alzheimer's focuses on that. Is today a good day? Just let it be a good day. Is this moment a good moment? Enjoy the moment. Don't think about what you have to do next. Don't worry about what they may be like tomorrow. Just enjoy today. Another way of practicing this philosophy is thinking about, what do you have power over? Where is your control? And letting go of what you don't have power over. In my situation, I don't have control of her moods. I cannot force her to be happy. I cannot calm her down when she's upset. I can put tools in place to help her calm down and maybe they'll work. But bottom line, I have to just go with the flow. I have to just acknowledge that the control I have in that situation is how I respond. And so that's what I hang on to. So that can make things a lot easier too. I have more control over today than I have over next week or next year, and worrying about where things are going to be down the road doesn't help me today. Finally, make your choices conscious ones. So this might seem a little bit, silly, but if you actually say to yourself, I choose to be a caregiver, I choose this role, I choose to help this person who I love and care for, I choose to make their life more manageable, it actually gives you so much more of a sense of empowerment over your situation. This falls into the category of positive self-talk, and it's a tool of cognitive behavior therapy that has proven time and time again to be effective. Simply repeating, I choose to be a caregiver for my loved one today, reminds you that this is your choice that you're making, and it puts you into a position of control. And having some control over your experience really, really helps you change your mindset about it. So creating your caregiving experience instead of reacting to it changes how you look at yourself, it changes how you see your role, and it even changes how you view your care recipient and your situation. So in my last Facebook Live, I talked about planning, and it's another tool that can help give you some more freedom in your caregiving role, and it can empower you too. Scheduling time for yourself is an important tool that you can engage around maintaining some of that control. It's easier to keep self-care commitments if you've planned ahead for them. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about choice and receiving care. Care recipients need to have choice too. It's a really difficult dynamic when you're going into a caregiving and care receiving relationship, because the care recipient often needs help, and needing help is difficult for adults. It's difficult for many adults, especially those who've been very independent their whole lives long. So preserving as much choice as possible for your care recipient will help them feel more control and help them feel more empowered, and therefore it'll make the whole relationship easier for both of you. So give choice where you can. You have to sometimes think ahead and plan ahead where that choice is going to be, but it can be little things like helping your caregiver get dressed, having them choose what top they'd like to wear that day, or having them choose what they would like for breakfast that day. These are little choices, and sometimes you might even have to help those choices along, but even small choices make people feel very empowered. So things like that can really help, but you want to be careful when giving choices to your care recipient, especially if you're dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's or altered mental states, that you want to kind of manage the number of choices you're giving them. My daughter, as an example, we have to manage her choices carefully. If we give her open choices, it's very difficult for her to make a decision. So her choices have to be framed as, do you want this or do you want this? And that's an easier choice for her to make, other than, what do you want to do? That one would just totally overwhelm her. When you're dealing with folks with an altered mental state or a more difficulty making decisions, you sort of have to kind of minimize that. Don't give them too many choices at the same time. Just space it out a little bit. You know what I mean. Going with the flow also helps as well. I mentioned that earlier for you, but going with the flow helps you kind of change your expectation of what your care recipient has to do that day or has to be that day. Take a look. Are they having a good day? Great. Then maybe you can do some of those things you planned. Are they having a bad day? Maybe it's worthwhile resetting your daily plan and just choosing an easier, quieter day. Just go with the flow. Another big factor is to go with focusing on the positive. I found this a struggle until I started doing a gratitude journal with my daughter, which helped us both. We were both kind of falling into a depressive sort of state. And by focusing every day on things we were happy about that day, it really helped us see how much more positive our lives were, how much more positive our relationship was, and it helped us change our mindset around life, going from life being difficult and a bit of a slog to life being fun and being exciting again. Finally, you do want to encourage independence wherever you can. Your caregiver used to be a very highly independent person who made all their decisions for themselves and did everything for themselves. So wherever possible, try to kind of maintain that air of independence. Let them do things for themselves. Let them try things for themselves. See what happens. Offer support after they've tried. Remind them what they're capable of and what they can do, and allow that to happen. Encourage their independence and celebrate it as often as you can, and you'll find you both will just feel so much better about your whole relationship together as caregiver and care recipient. So I've brought together a number of resources for this Facebook Live, and my colleague Carla is going to add them to the chat towards the end. I sort of talked all the way through this and didn't really mention any of the resources. I'll speak to them a little bit now. There's a great article called The Dance Between Guilt and Resentment that's worth a read. It really helps you look at your mindset. Another one is our amazing resource, Boundaries for Caregivers, because it is important to have boundaries. It's important to know what you can and can't do. Where does your comfort zone stop in caregiving? You want to create your caregiving experience and don't just react to it. So there's an article there called Create Your Caregiving Experience. Don't just react to it. That's another good read. And then the Family Caregiver Decision Guide is another resource that we have that's a really fantastic way of helping you look at your decisions and what you want to do as a caregiver. And then we also have Building a Gold Medal Support Network, and then Where to Draw the Line, Boundary Setting for Caregivers. So I hope these ideas and these tips have given you some food for thought. Please feel free to jump into the comments, ask me any questions you'd like, and I'll answer them. You're also welcome to reach out to our caregiver support line. We're more than happy to touch base with you, listen to what you're going through, validate your experience, and just be an ear for you. We can also offer resources, ideas, and tools to help you kind of move into a positive place with the experience. Okay, it's been wonderful connecting with you today. I wish you all the best, and take care.